So, I mean, I want to go to Sarah Friar's original comments. I know she kind of amended them, but does it make sense for the federal government to help out these companies to ensure the idea that the U.S. is going to maintain its dominance in AI, especially after those comments from Jensen Huang that we're only a few nanoseconds ahead of China?
Well, it would make sense for OpenAI. I mean, of course, OpenAI is dealing with a tremendous amount of financing to try to finance this AI build-out. And like Friar said, if you get some government guarantees, then you can be able to borrow more money, and the rate at which you borrow is going to be lower. However, for the U.S. taxpayer, I don't think it makes any sense at all. Like Sachs said, like Sam Altman said, there are plenty of AI companies out there. So if OpenAI fails, are you telling me Google's going to fail also? I mean, that sounds ridiculous to me. And I think Sam indicated that as well in his comments. So wouldn't make sense at all for the United States government to backstop any financing to OpenAI. And I'm glad that that's where it's looking like they're not going to be.
All right. Might not make sense to backstop, but what about the idea of a quote-unquote sovereign AI? We know other countries are working on this. In fact, OpenAI is working with other countries on this, including China. Should the U.S., should we have like our own, federal large language model? Should we have our own federal data centers and things like that?
Yes, I think we should. And this wouldn't be out of character for the United States. The United States government has long invested in the frontier of technology research. And we're at a moment now where artificial intelligence technology does have a chance to be powerful and potentially change the scales of power in the globe. So for the United States to build its own foundational models, for the United States to have its own effective compute infrastructure to be able to do things with AI and not have to rely on the private sector for it seems to make a lot of sense. It would be a bet. It wouldn't be a sure thing that it would pay off. But I like this idea for the United States.
All right. So how would that play out? Does that involve the U.S. government investing in some of these companies? Does this involve the U.S. government, I guess, developing its own internal company with engineers and all those kind of things? I mean, exactly how would it work? I know it's a hypothetical, but in your mind, how would it work ideally?
So it could be either an internal company or a private-public partnership. I think one of the problems is the United States government's data is very, just spread out over so many different systems. You can have one department that has 70 or 100 different systems with disparate data. That's part of the reason why the government is so ineffective, is that it's just unable to sort of sync up its data and make use of it. So it would be an initiative, maybe, again, public-private partnership, maybe a new division within the government that is basically put together to sync up this data, put a level of AI on top of it, and potentially make things better for the citizen.